Just a reminder of President Trump's promises. There were a lot of them as he took office. Where do they stand at the 100-day mark? My panel joins me now, and I do want to start with the economic numbers that we're seeing in our new poll out this morning. They're pretty brutal. 64% of Americans disapprove of President Trump's handling of inflation. 65% disapprove of his handling of tariffs. 61% disapprove of his overall handling of the economy. On immigration, a majority of Americans, 53%, disapprove as well. You know, David Urban, I'm coming to you first.
Shocking. Shocking. Look, the numbers suck. Those are terrible numbers, right? We don't want to see those numbers. But again, snapshot in time. There's some other polling out that's from the Washington Post that says 55% of Americans view the president has done the right thing to address major problems in America. So you can, polls are what you want. You can see what you want to see in polls, but these numbers aren't great. I would say that I'm sure the Trump administration is looking at these. They're in it for the long. They're in this for the long run, and we've been through this. Look, how many times, Dan, have you and I and Karen and others sat here and said, "Trump's dead," and then he's like, "I'm not dead yet," and then he continues. Listen, he continues. I was here, after the Access Hollywood tape. I've been here through so many.
Yeah, but this is not that. This is about people's.
I get it, but the numbers will improve. I guarantee you. Over time, things are going to start happening.
Well, but I think there's two questions, David, and you know this. It's over how much time and how much more pain are people going to have to feel? Because here's the thing. When you have a headline from the Wall Street Journal that says, worst April since the Great Depression, and you have business leaders, Wall Street, small businesses, farmers saying, help, help, help. You're tanking our economy. This is too much chaos. This is too much pain. And let's be honest, he did campaign on tariffs, but he didn't say there'd be pain. And now people are living it and realizing, and by the way, this is before we even get to the budget and whatever cuts may end up in the final version of the budget and the impact that people will feel on that. So I think part of what you're seeing is people feel betrayed. They feel like you said you were going to deal with inflation and costs, and you have not done it.
I mean, I don't know if it's quite. I wish that it was that reflective. I really do think, though, we're in April, right? And we are so far from an election. Now, if we were 3 weeks out, I'd be saying this is a different story, but we're not. Remember, 3 months ago, where the economy was, and everybody was singing praises and excited. It will change so many times between now and next month or 2 months. So I don't think we're quite to that place where people are saying we feel betrayed. I think there's still a lot of opportunity for this administration to make changes. They will make many changes. The one thing I've observed is volatility is part of what they do. The real question to me, will this be lasting or not, is what does Congress do about it? Like you said, I do think there is proof in the pudding that, they're the heat shield. The congressional Republicans are the heat shield for what this administration is doing. And there's a lot of heat and there's a lot of friction. But the reality is what voters are really going to think about is what they actually pass into law.
Well, let's turn to the issue, or at least focus in on the issue of immigration, because this number, we mentioned it, but I just want to drill down on it once again. Trump's handling of immigration, 53% say they disapprove. And this is an area, Congresswoman, where, he says this is why he won. I don't know. I still think it was the economy. It's probably obviously a combination of both. Yasmin Ansari, I should say, welcome. And you were a part of the sort of delegation that went to El Salvador. So you definitely have immigration and what is going on with regard to the courts on your mind. What do you make of these numbers?
I think that it is the natural response to the overcorrection of this administration. They're taking it too far when it comes to their immigration policies. I think, Trump pledged mass deportations, which of course I am vehemently against. But now when you have a situation where the Supreme Court of the United States is making a ruling and the president is openly defying that, and we are really honing into this issue of due process, because I think at the core of it, Americans, whether you're a Republican, independent, Democrat, believe in fundamental rights we have as Americans, including due process. I think that's making a big difference. I represent Arizona, obviously a state that's on the front lines of this issue. And whether I speak with Democrats or, more moderate Republicans, I think people are very concerned about this authoritarian nature of this administration.
Yeah, listen, I respectfully disagree. I think the Trump administration is doing quite well. They're doing what the American people want to see. I think that snapshot cases like you saw,
53%.
like you saw with the, well, you can polls say what they want, but you saw like, the anecdotes are pretty powerful. This case with Judge Dugan, if those are the kind of fights Democrats are going to pick to fight, you're going to keep losing, right? I just think, listen, I mean, I do agree. Look, we don't want to sweep up and send people away who should not be sent away. I think we need to do
Like
it.
children.
We need,
And I
we need
think
to do it.
that
We need to do it well.
for this to be an issue that the president has always been polling well on, to now say the majority of Americans
Yeah,
are.
Well, I think there's two issues there. Immigration and border security is what he won on. And I think he's doing what people want him to do. I think it's a
Close the
huge
border.
mistake for congressional Democrats to make, Garcia like their rallying cry. I was like, wait, what? Like it's
that's
going to be
fine.
hard
I
for them.
disagree. I think
It's
that
gonna be very
I think
hard.
defying
Due
the
process
Supreme
is
Court is
Right.
a massive issue for
That's
Americans.
the American people?
But that's
Yes.
the Republicans
Yes,
talking.
absolutely.
It's not about. It's about the 3 American citizen children.
Yes.
One who has
Wait.
cancer. Hold on.
Wait, you took the part. You took the.
It's about the children who are American citizens who are deported. David and I've talked about this before. What we're seeing, I mean, in any administration makes mistakes. Since 2003, thousands of American citizens have been detained wrongfully. But because people are not getting due process,
And
you
that
create
has
more
to
of
be
an
fixed.
opportunity
Listen,
for mistakes.
I believe in that. But here's the thing. I think what's appropriate. Give me a sec. What's appropriate is for the senator representative who represents those people to engage wholeheartedly on the administration. I've done that.
There
I have
hasn't
done
been
that,
time.
and
They
that's
reported
what they're
to
doing.
that.
But my point is to have members of Congress making this their rallying cry. They are going to miss the message to the masses, and that's what they continue to do. And that's my frustration. I agree. Due process is a huge concern.
82%
And if that
of
were my
Americans wanted to
constituent,
follow the
I
law.
would have gone to bat, and that's what should happen. But for it to be the message for the Democrats, they're going to miss it. They're going to miss
Not
the
their
economy.
message.
They're going to admit that's
It's not
where
that-
their sweet
I
spot
just
is, and
think
they
you
keep
can't
missing it.
ignore this issue. And even on this issue, if we're going to go back to polling, the vast majority of Americans believe that Trump should listen to the Supreme Court and return Kilmar Garcia.
We're going to
back
have
the
to
United
sneak in a
States.
quick break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're looking at live images of Democrats staging a sit-in of sorts on Capitol Hill this Sunday morning. They call for an urgent conversation with the American people. My panel is back. As we look at this and think about what we're going to see over the next 100 days, Congresswoman Ansari, is this the kind of thing that you think is working for the Democratic Party?
I think what I love that I'm seeing is you have Democrats from a variety of backgrounds doing what it is that they are good at. So from massive rallies that obviously AOC and Senator Sanders are hosting, to town halls in Republican districts that many of us are hosting, to Senator Booker on the Senate floor. I think we are demonstrating that outside of typical, business as usual actions like legislative priorities, we are fighting back in every way, shape, or form that we can, and I think you can expect more of
You
that.
used to represent a swing district, a moderate Republican. What do you want from the president?
I want him to address inflation and the cost of goods and services and health care. I want him to think about the things that I think about. How am I going to pay for this? What's going to happen for my family? And I think that's most of America. And to the Congresswoman's point, I just felt like that is my frustration, is that there's not a credible flag being raised on the other side. The people you just mentioned all come from places where it's not hard for them to win races, right? They don't have to meet the people in the middle. They're the ones who are rallying the base. And that didn't work in November. I don't know why they think it's going to work now. And I think Republicans have the same responsibility. You're going to see it within the more moderate wings of the Republican Party. They're the ones who are going to start, and I've even seen it in the last week, starting to push back. We don't like this. We're not going to legislate this way. And as the legislation flows, because everything Trump's talked about right now, it's all based on his EO, executive order accomplishments. The next Democrat administration, that's a ripple in the pond. They'll be gone. What Congress does is what matters.
I think we have to remember that the Democratic Party is not just Washington. If you look at what's happening in the courts, we are winning. We've seen 100 judgments against Trump that have slowed him down. What we're trying to do, I think, is have the conversations, as the Congresswoman talked about. Our governors, our AGs, our mayors are trying to figure out how do we protect people. So as a party, I think we need to keep that up. I think we need to actually be louder in talking about it and go to people where they are. But also, this isn't just about Democrats. This is about Republicans doing their job to hold Trump accountable and be a check on power. And it's about the American people. And that's, when we talk about democracy, that's why this moment is so important.
Yeah, two quick things. First, professional, and second one, personal. All this polling still shows that the American public still trusts Donald Trump by a margin of 7% over congressional Democrats, take care of major problems in America.
Although congressional Dems are leading over congressional Republicans. and we
Just
gotta-
last polling. And then real quickly, Deanna knows this. I just want to, my wife was recently diagnosed with breast cancer, got a pretty bad diagnosis, just underwent some pretty serious surgery at Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa. And just want to thank the doctors and nurses there, all our friends and family that have continued to support my wife this past week, and tell her I think she's a rock star. Hang in there. We're all praying and pulling for you.
Amen.
We sure are. Kelly Urban, we love you. You are a complete badass.